a really cute one. I'm going to be doing it yet again differently than I've done any of the other ovals. I like to keep you guys on your toes. I like to give you guys options so that you can make it however you want, okay? If you got this and the way I'm making it today, if you do not like the way I'm making it today, just go on our YouTube channel under the oval board. There's many other different ways that you can make this, okay? I think I have about 12 different ways now that you can use the oval. So you absolutely do not have to make it like I'm doing, but you have all the tools and the materials that you need to make a stunning wreath, okay? Hello, good morning, everybody. Here's to coffee. Yes, caffeine. I like options too. Sometimes I think I give too many options, but you know, everybody has their own likes and dislikes. So I like to do a variety of different things. All right, so we are going to get started. I'm not sure why it's so dark. I have all my lights on and everything. I was having internet problems this morning, so I'm not sure. Anyways, so we are using, obviously, this metal. Really, this is one of my favorite fall signs of all out there. It's the pumpkin shape. It is tin, metal. Welcome to our patch. I know some people would like welcome to my patch. Unfortunately, they don't offer my, but you can Sharpie it out and just write my if you want. Anyways, that's the sign. And the ribbons I chose for this is this tri-colored 2.5 inch canvas, really nice. And this really cute pumpkin with it's like a tan gingham check in it. And it also has, let's open it. It also has some glitter on it. So it's really, really pretty. Look, 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 look. Isn't that gorge? I love this ribbon. And then this tricolor, this is really, really popular this year. This, the 3 different colors, because it's almost like you get more bang from your buck for your buck. Hi, Mom. Good morning. Isn't this great? I love this. Now, you may think, oh, that's not going to look too good. You just wait. Don't fret. You know me. I'm also going to be using this natural snowdrift. See the snowdrift burlap or natural colored snowdrift mesh. Okay, so we are going to do some ruffles with it. Again, if you're using a mesh like this, you do not want to do poofs. You are paying for this snowdrift, and if you do a poof, and I've said it before, all you're going to see pretty much with your poof is the value mesh that's in between. So use this for ruffles or kerfuffles or whatever accent, but don't use it for poofs. Okay, guys? All right. And what else do we got here? We got, we have pipe cleaners and cable mounts because we're going to put those on our sign. Zip ties, the cutters, and clothespins. Now, I'm using my Measure Buddy to measure out my ribbons. You do not have to. However, this is really handy to have for your crafting. It measures from everything from ribbons to mesh to yarn to whatever, from 8 inches all the way out to 20 inches. It's made with recycled plastic. It's very sturdy. The clips sometimes break. I never use the clips. I use my thumb. They're there. You get... in the pack, you get 2 clips. One is extra. You can slide your ribbons, but I just hold it. It's totally up to you. But there is an extra clip in the package, okay? You can get these on uniqueinthecreek.com and craftoutlet.com. Also sells the Measure Buddy. Alrighty. So, first thing I'm going to do is we're going to put our mounts on our sign, okay? We're not going to use this. This is for hanging on a wall or whatever. I'm going to take this off because it is the oval. So we will see, you know, the middle of this, and you don't want to see the trashy tag, especially if you're selling it. Everybody loves their Measure Buddy. Yes. Okay. So what I like to do, because it is metal, I'm going to be putting my mounts on the sides because I'm going to put my pumpkin in the middle of the oval. Okay. So it's pretty easy when you use Unique and Creek boards because you know exactly where the middle is. So half of the oval is right here. So that is where my mounts on each side are going to go. Okay. So I'm just going to, I like to take a little piece of sandpaper and just rough the metal up just a bit. And that helps the glue grab on to the metal. Now this metal is not so bad because it is, it's got a primer on it. Hello, hello. It's got a primer on it. So it's not like the metal signs where they're kind of slippery. So this will glue pretty good. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the cable mount, put your pipe cleaner right through it so you have something to hold on to. Okay, like that. And we like to take this, when you take this off, this is sticky. We're not going to use that. We're going to remove this padding. Okay, because we want to adhere the actual plastic of the cable mount right to the sign. Because over time, this rubber sticky mounting will give out and your sign will fall off. So especially in this heat. So we're just going to remove that. So if you just start at the corner and peel it back, it comes off fairly easy. Okay, and I like to use hot glue as well as E6000. So I do hot glue for the initial adhesion, and then the E6000, it will stick on there for good. Like E6000 has a really high heat rating, so it's really one of the best to use, especially in this heat. So I'm going to go along the top with my E6000, along the bottom, and a little bit in the center. And then I'm going to come along and on the right and left side, I'm going to use the hot glue so I can put my sign on. Feel where I roughed it up there, and there we go. Just hold it for a sec. Good morning, good morning. All right, and I already did this one, so we'll do the same. E6000. You can also use super glue or DAP. There's all kinds of stuff out there. I just know that the E6000 does work in extreme heat. So, plus I use Gorilla hot glue sticks. So, all right. Now we're going to let that sit, and it'll be all ready to use by the time we finish making our wreath. Okay, so I'm just going to set this to the side. If I can find room. My craft room really needs to be cleaned. Okay, so to put the wreath together, we're going to get our supplies ready like we always do. So for this wreath, I'm doing it, like I said, I'm doing it a little different than I normally do. We are going to be cutting 10 pieces of this beautiful mesh. Hello from California, Disney! Yay! 10 pieces at 35 inches. What? Yeah, we're making a big, huge ruffle. So, 10 pieces, 35 inches. Okay? Then we are going to cut 8 pieces of the 2.5-inch ribbon, this gorgeous ribbon, at 14 inches. And then we are going to do 8 pieces of this gorgeous glittery pumpkin ribbon at 14 inches as well. Now those are just for the tails. We are going to add a couple funky bows at the top and bottom without a bow maker. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to use our Measure Buddy to make a couple funky bows for the top and the bottom of our wreath. Okay, so I have pre-cut most of my mesh. This will be attached to the edited version on YouTube. So you want to cut 35. Now, you get 360 inches in a roll of mesh. And we only need 10 pieces. So you would think, okay, Lori, why don't you cut it at 36 inches? I cut it at 1 inch less just in case there is not a complete, it's not a complete 10-yard roll. So I don't want to be short. So I just bring it down to 35 inches, okay? Lately, last year it was wishy-washy. You may got 10 yards, you may not. This year, it seems to be, they've kind of smartened up over there, and I haven't had a roll of this new stuff that has not been 10 yards. Hi, Tony. Okay, so you may, if you don't have a large cutting mat like I do, what you can do, say if you only have a 24-inch cutting mat, what you can do is roll your mesh out to, say, your 24-inch, put your finger down, bring it back to your zeroed, and then 24, so 11 more inches. So you would cut right there at the 11 inches, and that'll give you the 35. Did I do my math right? Oh my God, I did it right. That will give you a 35-inch piece, okay? So it's pretty easy. Even if you have a ruler or like even a measuring tape will work. But you want to make sure the bottom is long and straight. So my bottom serged edge here is along this line, so I can make sure my mesh is completely going to be 35 inches. Take your rotary cutter, and there we go. Okay. Hello, hello. And this is my last piece that I need to cut. And look at that. It's a good thing I only cut them at 35 inches because I only have 35 inches left on my last piece. So I stand to be corrected. They haven't got their stuff together because technically I should have been able to cut my pieces all at 36 inches. But this is exactly why I say save a little, don't do, if you calculate to use the whole roll and it calculates to 24 inches, cut it at 23. I really don't know why it's so dark. Okay, hi, Monk. All right, so we got our mesh cut. Now we're, like I stated on here, we are going to use 8 pieces of the 2.5 inch at 14 inches. So I'm going to use my measure buddy at 14 inches. So I'm going to pull out number 1. Number 1 goes all the way to 14 inches. And I'm going to go around just 4 times because this ribbon is fairly thick. So that's 1 piece of 14, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that down. And now, with the whole bundle still intact, I am going to fold it over lengthwise, just like that. And I'm going to put the edge of my ribbon on one of these lines and put my thumb about at the 1 inch. And I'm going to cut from the folded bias to the top corner. Okay. And that will give me a nice V cut. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. That way, all my ribbon tails have the exact same V. So funny, Haley. You said Facebook is wonky lately. They blocked that. They hid that. Okay, again. So you notice I didn't cut the edges. However, I skipped a step. Time is money. So we got 4. We need 4 more. Do the same thing. Now bring it back out to 14. I always hold mine at the 2, so you can use the clip. There, that's what the clip is for, but you still end up holding it with your thumb. So I just kind of skip that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, like I said at the beginning, we are going to be doing a funky bow at the top and the bottom of this wreath. Again, we're going to fold it in. Put your finger about 1 inch. 1 inch seems good for the cut. And you want to have nice, good, sharp scissors for your ribbons. Get a pair of ribbons and mark them as only ribbon. Because to get really nice ribbon tails and stuff like that, you need sharp scissors so they don't, so your dovetail doesn't fray. And the quality of ribbon lately is amazing. So they've really stepped up their game with the ribbon. It's gorgeous ribbon. So there's the 8. We're done with this till we do the bow. So we really didn't use very much at all. And now I'm going to do this gorgeous pumpkin ribbon. The same thing. This is our 1.5. Okay. And this is pretty thick as well, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go around 4, 2, 4. Now you can, if you don't have a measure buddy, you can, use a piece of wood at 14 inches. You can use a piece of cardboard to wrap around. You can cut individual pieces with just a measuring tape. I know a lot of beginners are just starting. I used to use cardboard at the beginning all the time. So you buy your tools as you make money. So don't put yourself in debt to get all the fancy things, because you don't need all the fancy things. However, this is only $12.99. Just saying. All right, so we got 4 of those. And we need 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. We're lining them up again, folding on the horizontal. Cut from the folded edge up to the top corner to make your perfect dovetail. So if you've watched me before, I like to get all my supplies ready to go, and then putting the wreath together is super simple. Okay, so we got our 10 pieces of mesh cut, we got our 8 pieces of 2.5 inch cut, and we got our 8 pieces of 1.5 inch cut. So we are ready to rock and roll. Lori needs a sip of coffee. Cheers. All right. So what I'm going to do is fold all my ribbon tails in half. Now with this ribbon, you can see there's a little design on the green, and you can see that it's kind of glued. I think it's glued or sewn or whatever. So that would be the back. So there is a good side to this ribbon. Just pay attention to what side you have facing outwards, okay? So you want this nice design on the green facing out, that you see it. So we're just folding these. I like to get them all ready to go. Good. Good morning, all my friends on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for joining me this morning. If you wouldn't mind sharing this to your own Facebook page, I would so greatly appreciate it. When somebody does a live, pretty much all they're going to be asking for, and you guys can do for free, is just share the live. It doesn't take much, and it's greatly appreciated to the person that is actually doing the live. So, and I don't mean just me, just anybody that you watch. Okay, so I make my little ribbon packets like I always do. Thank you, Tony. Gosh, I've been busy this week. I had my VIP last night. Did you guys see the army wreath I made on my VIP group last night? I posted it this morning. It turned out so nice, and I hardly used any material. It was amazing. All right, our ribbon packet's ready to go. Let's put this bad boy together, my friends. All right, so like I said, we're using the oval, okay? There is, on the oval, you'll see a number 1 and a number 2. 1 and 2. We are only going to be using 10 of these holes, and we are going to be using, I'm going to start with the top and the bottom. Remember I said the top and the bottom, we are not going to be putting tails because I'm going to do a funky bow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using row 2. Let me just double check I'm going to be using the outside, this first hole to the second hole. So I'm not going to be using this inside hole. So I'm going to go down and back up. So you'll see where your hanging holes are. And we're going to leave it open. Okay? We're leaving it open. And then we're going to skip a set of holes. And we're going to go to the next one. Again, leaving it open. Now, should you just be starting and you don't feel comfortable using zip ties, you can use pipe cleaners or what Chanel stems they call them, or PVC stems, which is more like a work frame. But zip ties work amazing because it keeps everything nice and neat, and you know your wreath isn't going to fall apart. Okay? These are very good zip ties. I buy them right from a cable tie manufacturer, and they are 18 pound, 6.3 inches, and their temperature rating is -40 Fahrenheit to 185 degrees Fahrenheit. So if your zip ties melt on your wreath, get out of where you are. It's too dang hot where you are if your zip ties are melting. Although I think it was a 185 when I was in Mexico. Holy man, that was hot. Okay, so I'm preloading open every other hole from the outside to the center hole. And I started at the top. Alrighty, so there's what we have. Zoom out? Absolutely, I forgot. I zoomed in so you guys could see the paper. Okay, so what we're going to do is what's called Woodland ruffle. Okay, so we got this big old long piece of mesh that we cut, right? 35 inches. You're going to take your clothespin. I'm just going to move this out of the way while I'm showing you the petal. Okay, so what you're going to do is I like to fold the edge in about 2 inches, and you're going to put a pipe or a clothespin on it. And folding it in just like that helps with not seeing the cut edge here. And we are doing it curl up, okay? So when curl up means when I let go, it's going to curl up on itself. Alrighty? So I'm going to put something heavy down at the end. Let me zoom out so you guys can see everything, because this is a very long piece. And then I'm going to fold that bottom edge in as well, about 2 inches. You don't need to put a clothespin on because we are going to scrunch right up the center. Now, this is a little hard on the hands. However, we're only doing 10 pieces. Okay, so if after a couple pieces your hands get a little sore because we're going to do a lot of scrunching, just rest because you'll know exactly where to begin to continue on. Alrighty, so we're just going to pinch just like that, or pleat right up the center of this mesh. And our beautiful border stripe is on the edge. And it is much easier to have something heavy at the other end to keep your mesh in line so it doesn't go all wonky. And then once you get to the end, you can take your pipe or your clothespin off and bring it in. That way the edges are all in the ruffle, and we're going to flip it over like this. Okay, isn't that a pretty ruffle? I love this mesh. Now I'm going to take my board and I'm going to put the center of this big old ruffle right in the middle of my zip tie. And when you do the zip tie, I need to note, you're going to have the flat part of the zip tie head. Make sure it's facing towards the other hole. So when you go to do it up, it will do up. If you try and put the tail into the concave side of the head, you won't hear that zipping sound or anything, and it won't lock. Okay? So, and then we're just going to make sure before you pull it really tight that your ruffle is about even on both sides and it's looking pretty. Once you got that, pull as tight as you can. Okay? And then you're going to clip this off. These are new, they're a little stiff. Okay? Now, like I said, the top and the bottom, we're not putting any tails because I'm going to be doing a bow at the top and the bottom. All right, so next we'll do the same thing. Okay, just fold your end in a little. All right, and then we're going to stretch that out. Put something heavy on it so we can do a nice straight ruffle. And pinch, 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 pleat, pinch, pleat, pinch. I know I'm annoying. All the way to the end. This is where I said your hands may get a little tired. You definitely can take a break. Look how beautiful that ruffle is. Alrighty. So for this one, I'm going to put tails in. But because this ruffle is so big, I am going to, even though I'm putting tails in, I'm going to put the ruffle onto the board and do it up. And then I'm going to, because we only use 10 zip ties. I'm going to go back over. So I'm going to put it in nice and tight. And when you use your little wire nipper things, if you don't squeeze really tight, you can use it as a needle nose and pull it tight and then squeeze down harder and it'll snip off your tails. Isn't that great? Now, I'm going to go back over that zip tie and then we're going to put our tails in. Much easier. So we're going to open up our packet of tails. And I'm going to step it like I always do. And step it means I always put the 1.5 inch on top of my 2.5 inch, where the bottom of the 1.5 inch is kind of going down the middle of the 2.5 inch dovetail there. My middles are lined up, okay? And we're just going to pinch right up that center, flip it up, and you want to make sure that your ribbon tails are about the same size. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And then we're going to take that where we were pinched at the middle, just put it right in the center of your ruffle and come around with your zip tie. Okay, now if you notice, I put the head of the zip tie for the ruffle this way, and then I'll put the head of the tails on this side. That way there's no bulk. And cut that off. Now once we get this all stuffed in, you're not going to see the board because these ruffles are pretty large and full. Alrighty. So we skipped here. We're going right here. Oh, I have mesh everywhere. Okay. Yeah, with the Woodland ruffle, because it is so full, it covers the board really nicely with only using, you know, just 10 pieces. So you don't have to use a poof or anything else on the board because it covers it pretty good. So we'll make your ruffle even. I'm going to move this just up a bit. Go around. And before you tighten it, you want to make sure you can see how full it's getting and it's butting up against each other. So make sure each side is pretty even. And we pull that nice and tight, and then we're going to go around and put another tail. All right, so we cut that. I'll just push that this way. We're going to go over top of that zip tie. So I'm just going right over top and keeping it open. I'll put another set of tails. It's just much easier like this than trying, because that is that's a handful, that ruffle. Okay, so I have the tan side is at the top. Actually, maybe I'll mix it up. So what I'm talking about is the coloring. So for this tail, I have the tan, and then the pumpkin over the tan. So that's what I did for the first one. For this next one, I would just do the brown at the top. And that's what's nice about the tricolored ribbon. It looks like there's a few different ribbons in there once you get going. All right, before you tighten, make sure that they're both semi-even. There we go. And tighten that bad boy up. Ooh, this is going to be so pretty. I did pre-make a bunch of bunch of ruffles ahead of time and just put a couple in my Bodabra, and I used clothespins for some of them to pre-make them. All right. And don't forget, you can save your tails if you are a recycler like I am. Keep a little bucket, put your tails in there because they are recyclable. Any little thing helps, right? Okay, we're going to go down and up on the same zip tie. And the back, of course, is still nice and clean. So the last one I used the brown on the top, so this one I'll put the tan again. Flip it up. We're making sure our ribbon tails are the same length. And have your ribbon tails going towards the outside of the board. Again, if you did get this kit and you don't fancy the way I'm doing it, you do not have to do, absolutely do not have to do the way I'm doing it. There's many other ways on our YouTube channel under the oval board. Okay. Okay, we'll go back over. So the next one, that's the bottom. We're not going to put any tails at the bottom. We're going to do a couple bows on one bow at the top, one bow at the bottom. Okay, so we did tan this time. Okay, we're going to do the brown at the top. And why I step it like this, I don't think I've seen anybody else do this step technique. It just saves a step with a, so you don't have to pull and yank your tails. And when you step it, the 1.5 inch is always in the center. And then the 2.5 inch is always on the outside. So you don't have to really think about your tails when you're doing it this way. Now you can put the 1.5 in the outside and have the 2.5 inch on the inside. It's totally up to you. All right, so the next one is the bottom. So we're halfway done. Thigh gap, that's right, no thigh gap. We are not putting any tails. It is just going to be a ruffle. We're going to put a cool bow there. Now, if your mesh is getting in the way, what you can do is you can take your clothespin and clothespin the ruffles to the side so you can have more access to your board. Okay, we will be doing a tail. Look how full this is getting, right? This is how you make a nice full wreath with minimal supplies. And this wreath is going to be quite large. Oh! Sorry about that, guys. That scared the bejesus out of me. All right. Tan side now. And we'll worry about fixing up all our tails at the end. I usually, like I said, I usually do it, fix everything while it's on my door before I take a picture. All right, that's it for the pre-made ones. Back to ruffling. So that gave me a little bit of a break with my hands by having a few pre-made ones done. Patricia, I would do poofs. Do poofs with the 21-inch. I do have a few tutorials on the oval with poofs on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to make the rest of these, which we only have 3 left. So we're almost done the wreath. You're very welcome. I love this big, huge, full ruffle. Last one. And the Woodland ruffle does work really, really well with this snowdrift mesh, because you can see all the drift, and it, you know, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for this. So I really wanted to make sure that you could see the mesh and not so much ribbon, because this mesh is gorgeous. So I didn't want to just pack it all in with ribbons, and that is why I'm doing it this way and not with a ton of ribbon tails in it. However, the bow at the top and the bottom will definitely finish it off. Oh, I think it just dropped one. It wouldn't be alive if I didn't drop something off my table, which I am getting new tables soon, wider ones. Okay, so I had the tan one. I'll put the brown at the top this time. Look how nice and fallish. I love these tri-colored ribbons. You get all that color in there with just one ribbon. Love it. I bought almost every color they had in 2.5 and 1.5 inch. That's how much I like them. Because you really do get more bang for your buck. It looks like you have, you know, a bunch of different color ribbons in your project. And keep in mind, most customers, when they buy from you, they're not crafters or anything, so they have no idea. They just like that it's pretty. So if you can, you know, do a wreath that It looks really expensive, but you know it's really not. It's how you make more money. Because this wreath is going to be very big. So when they see a big wreath like that, you know, they expect to pay a price for that. So you don't tell them you only use one roll of mesh because they won't understand that, right? We are almost done, my friends. Do the brown and the tan. Whip it up. So much easier when you already have the ruffle in there. So we used a total of 20 zip ties on this whole wreath. So that's pretty good. Zip ties, they're not really super expensive. So as you can see a lot of the mesh, which is what my goal was, with a few ribbons, but we're gonna really make it pop when we put these bows on. I have to grab that other ruffle that fell on the tape off the table. Alrighty, last one, my friends, last one. I'm gonna stick that in there. Last one's a little more difficult. If you need to use your clothespins, I'm gonna get this around and then pin this back so I just want to make sure my ruffle's even on both sides before tightening it right up. Clothespins are our friends. All right, looks good. Pull it tight. Off. We're going to go around again. And our last ribbon tail. And then we're going to make some cool bows. Alrighty, we are done that part. We're going to pull up. Make sure all your ruffles are upwards. So we got that big full wreath. Our sign, I'll just give you an example. Our sign, actually I could probably do the sign right now. My sign is going to go right in the center and I'm going to put two bows on the top and bottom. Very cool, right? All right, so let's put this aside and make our bows. I'm going to be using my measure buddy to make my bows. Okay, I need a zip tie and a pipe cleaner. I think I'll use a black one, I guess. I don't know if I have any tan ones. No, that's okay. All right, so I'm going to do a bow. Now, if you have a bow maker, you can make a bow on your bow maker. A lot of people don't have a bow maker, so I'm going to just show you an easy way to make one on the measure buddy. So I am going to pull my, I think I'll do maybe 13-inch loops. I don't want a huge bow, I don't want to overtake the whole thing. You know, I wanted, like I said, I wanted to make sure that we could see the mesh. However, I am going to use my bow maker to hold my ribbon. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a funky bow with, I'm going to put, I think, just 2 loops. 2 loops on each side. So I got it pulled out to 13 inches. So this piece that I just laid onto my measure buddy, this is going to be the tail of the funky bow, and I want 2 loops. So I'm going to go 1, that is 1 loop and the tail, and I'm going to go around again. That's 2 loops, and then 1/2 time, that will be the second tail. Okay, so we should have 1, 2, 1, 2 in the tails. Okay, so I went around 2 complete times and started off with 1/2. Does that make sense? I'm going to do it again with I'm going to do it a few times. So I'm going to do it again with the 1.5 inch. So leave it just like that. Okay. Let's use our 1.5 inch now and do the exact same thing. I'm going to still do it at 13 inches. Okay. So this is our tail. So it's half. We didn't go full around. Now we're going to go make our loop. So 1, 2 times completely around, and then 1/2 time. That's the second tail. Okay, so both these tails will be at the same end. Slide it off again. Keep it packed just like that. And I'm going to fold it in half just to get my halfway mark. I'm going to fold this one in half. Everybody following me still? This does take practice. It's not hard. It's just, you know, it's one of those things that takes practice, just like any kind of bow making. All right, and I'm going to put my 1.5 inch packet right on top of the 2.5 inch, and I'm going to get my zip tie wherever I put it, and my pipe cleaner ready, and I'm going to slide the zip tie right under the 2.5 and come around. Okay, now what you're going to have to do is pinch the whole packet right in the center where your pleat is, and go around your zip tie. Now, not too tight, okay, just enough that it's kind of making a bow tie shape. We are going to bring the head of the zip tie to the back, so it's facing the back. And now I'm going to slide this pipe cleaner into my zip tie, because the pipe cleaner is what we're going to use to attach it to the board. Okay? And then squeeze, because this is pretty thick, squeeze and pull that zip tie as hard as you can. And then snip off this tail of the zip tie. All right? So there's one. I'm going to make another one. And we're going to open it once it's on the board. Okay, so let's do another one again. So this is our tail, so that's 1/2. We're going to go around 1, 2. Okay, that's our 2 loops. And back around just 1/2 for our second tail. All Alrighty, I'm going to slide it off. And we're going to do the same thing for our 1.5 again. So the tail, we're going to go around 1. Pull out your ribbon, make sure it's nice and loose. 2, and then just a half. And if you do make a mistake on your first one, you do have enough ribbon that you could still make one more bow, okay? Keep your packet nice and tight. In half so we can get that halfway point. And like I said, if you have a bow maker and you already know how to make bows, awesome. And if you don't, and you have a measure buddy, I just showed you, if you don't even have that, you can just use cut a piece of cardboard and cut it at 13 inches and wrap it around like that. Just the way I did on the measure buddy. Okay, so we're lining up the zip tie right down the middle where our line is. I'm going to pinch that in the center. Just like that. Make sure everything's lined up nicely. Flip it over. And then squeeze and pull that zip tie tight. There we go. Our 2 bows are ready to be put on. Hopefully they're not too big. I think 13 inches is a good size. All the tools. All right. You're going to take your wreath. So we're going to go right over top of the zip tie at the top and the bottom. So you're going to take your pipe cleaner and you're just going to go down those 2 holes where we put the zip ties. Okay. Pull it till it's tight, and then give it a nice good twist. And then we're going to do the bottom one, the exact same thing. Again, over top of the zip tie. Pull it tight. Twist. And cut the excess of your pipe cleaner and just stick it back down the holes. So look how nice and neat our back is still. Put your business card, if you're selling, put your business card or your stickers so the customer knows where to buy their Christmas wreath. Especially if you're selling at a craft fair, and they usually, when you buy something at a craft fair, you never know where you bought it from, right? Okay, these are our hanging holes. I'm going to take another zip tie. I'm going to go down and back up. Make our hanger. Just like that. Snip it. Now we're going to add our sign. Now, right across here is the halfway mark, okay? And I am going to be putting my pipe cleaners for my sign right there. So I know my pumpkin is going to be exactly halfway up the oval. So you take your pumpkin I'm going to go down. So just you got to move your mesh. And there, the holes are exposed. Put your pipe cleaner down, but don't pull it tight yet until you have both sides in. So loosely, just give it a twist until you put the other side in. Oh shoot, I put it on the inside. I gotta fix the other side. I put it in the wrong 2 holes. You want to put it in the 2 holes that you had put the zip ties in. So I put them on the inside here for this one. I want it from here to here. Like this one. So it's pretty easy. And make sure that the top where your hanger is, your pumpkin is the right way too, so. All right. Oh, this is gonna be so pretty once I open that bow and everything. So we're gonna pull out some of the mesh. There's no need to pull all of it out because we do want the pumpkin to sit on something. Twist my pipe cleaner here. All right. Okay, so just moving the mesh around. Like I said, not all of the mesh I'm pulling out from underneath because you want the sign to sit on something. Okay. I want some of my mesh to kind of go over the pumpkin like that. This is the hardest part of making a wreath, is the dang signs. No matter what kind of frame you're using, the signs are always a pain. Okay, now I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to tighten. So I'm kind of pushing. Now our E6000 on the sign is not cured yet, so, but the hot glue. What the heck? Yeah, Lord, I don't know what you're thinking. See, my hot glue didn't work yet. Have to redo. Why I didn't unplug it. My E6000 is still really wet. Crap happens. Let that dry. While I'm letting it dry, let's open our bow. So I'm gonna start with the bottom, the 2.5 inch. So I'm bringing the 1.5 inch just up, and we're gonna pull. Pull out your loops here, and oh, why do I have 3? I did that wrong. I did it wrong. I'm such a goober. That's okay. Okay, I'm going to dovetail this. I went wrong somewhere. But that's okay. I'm going with the flow here. I'll put one tail at the top. Put this one down here. I I see those laughy faces, Michelle. It is what it is. It's all good. It's all good. Alrighty. And now open up the 1.5 inch, which I probably did wrong as well. So give your tail a little twist there so the good side is facing up. Hey, we all make mistakes. Not perfect, and I never claim to be perfect, ever. But I'll make it that nobody will know the difference. There. It's a 5-loop bow. Yeah, I created a new thing. It's a 5-loop. It still looks good. So give it yanks, open up your loops. Stop laughing at me, you guys. I have feelings, you know. Actually worked out pretty good. I kind of like it. The bottom one I could have probably did it like along with the tails. But it is what it is. Centered. So this one I assume will be wrong as well. And I should have known, because now that I think back when I made it before, the tail, one end of the tail was at the top and one was at the bottom. I ended up with both of my tails at the same end. So that's where I went wrong. I haven't made one in a long time, so I need grace. I'm Grace. And don't be scared to give your ribbon yanks there. You're zip tied in, so it's not going to fall apart if you tug and pull and everything. The joys of doing live coverage tutorials. Do this side now, the 1.5 inch. Our 5-looped bow. Actually, the 5-loop, it's kind of cool. Nobody would know the difference except you guys watching and half the other 1,000 people that are going to watch on the replay. All right. And now we have to go around. We'll pull out our... Oh, no, I won't do that yet because I still have to put this dang sign on. But look how pretty. Look how pretty with the top and bottom bow. All right, there we go down again. I'm just not going to pull really tight. Tomorrow, once it's cured, I'll pull the sign tighter. Make sure I'm in the center. Okay, I'm in the center this time. They've done 5 loops of bows on purpose. Awesome. Well, they do say crafting in odd numbers. So maybe I did that on purpose. You know what, guys? It's crafting. Don't fret if you make a mistake. The only time anybody will really notice is if you tell them. I used to say that in my workshops all the time. If you point it out, people will notice. If you don't point it out, nobody's going to know. Just make it work. Okay. So, yay, we're centered and in the right holes. Woohoo! So, look how beautiful this is. This is stunning. Guys, we only used 1 roll of 10-inch mesh and not even a full roll of each of those ribbons. And make sure you bring out your beautiful ruffles so that you can see that beautiful mesh, because you paid money for that mesh. And then you're going to make sure your ribbon tails are all nicely spread out. Check your thigh gap. That's just an inside joke in our VIP. And a beautiful fall wreath. How long did it take me to make that? How many long time? 1 hour and 15 minutes. Not bad. Not bad at all, my friends. And I will measure this in a second. Like I said, tomorrow I'll pull my sign just a little bit tighter. But actually, the way it's sitting is probably pretty good now as it is. And please, if you're going to make a wreath, please, please, please do your tails. Straighten them out, make them nice. You put all the effort in. If you don't pull them out and make them nice, then don't put them in. There we go. 10 pieces of mesh, 8 ribbon tails, and a crazy bow. And this wreath, the length of it is, actually it's not too big, 28 inches. So we have 28 inches by 22 inches. So it's a really nice size for a front door. Very nice. Now you can add some raffia if you want into the zip ties. Or you can keep it simple like I did. You could put greenery in. You just add it into the zip ties as you're going along. Alrighty. What's upside down? Oh, for God's sake. You're absolutely right, Lynn. How did you notice that? All right, my hanging hole is up here. Wah, wah, wah. That's all right. Once the sign's cured, I'll switch it around tomorrow. Oh my God. It's going to be one of those days. I know it. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And again, thank you all for your support. You guys are just like wonderful followers. and we have so much fun. I really enjoy doing my craft with you guys. Alrighty, there it is. Upside down pumpkin. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day and stay cool. Bye, my friends.